Hey, welcome into Whoosh Wednesday with me, Louie. Today I thought we could talk about the different Comic Cons, the sizes, the experiences, and see if I can help you determine which one's the right one for you before Comic Con season kicks off this year. And I say that because there was one on my radar. I'm not going to end up going to it, but it was Awesome Con in Washington, D.C., and that's the weekend of March 8th through the 10th. So, I debated it, but it's just not going to work this year. Maybe next year, but that reminded me that the season is kicking off soon, so why not make a video to help other people decide what Comic Con to go to for them? So let's take a look at the biggest Comic Con I've ever been to. And that happened just recently in 2023, and that was New York Comic Con. That place was absolutely bananas. No doubt bananas. The craziest Comic Con I think I've ever gone to. Guest wise, vendor wise, just the whole experience was bigger than anything I'd ever been to. It was really cool. Some of the guests we had the chance to meet were Chris Evans, David Tennant, Sam Riegel from Critical Role. We met the entire cast of, not the entire cast, but most of the cast of Star Wars Clone Wars the Animated Series. We met, let's see, who else? Met quite a few people there though, and it was a lot of fun. It was absolutely overwhelming at times. Thursday to me was definitely better. Overall experience, and those were just like the big name celebrities that I mentioned earlier. Those were the bigger name celebrities that we actually had a chance to meet. We did meet some other people like Ryan Perot, who wrote the Power Rangers, like over 100 issues between Go-Go Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin, and all of those. He was really, really great to meet. We talked to Todd Knock again, who we had the chance to meet back in 2015. And I keep saying we because both my wife and I went to Comic-Con together. So I'm not just talking about myself as a plural. Nothing wrong with that if you do, but I am talking about my wife, that scenario. So my wife and I had the chance to meet Todd Knock back at, I believe it was Boston Comic Con 2015 or 2015, I think it was. Wicked nice gentleman. And if it wasn't 2015, it was definitely 2016, so it was somewhere in there. Wicked nice person. He got me to really appreciate the art, and I believe I mentioned that in an earlier video too. Having the second chance to meet him, I believe we also had the chance to meet his wife, and we were introduced to Andy Lanning, who was visiting before the show really kicked off, and was talking to Todd, and then on his way out he actually stopped and talked to us as well. And we had just come back from a trip to Disneyland Paris, and him being from England, we were talking about like the weather, how it rained for us over there, and he's like, it rains a lot. Like, it was a really fun discussion. So those type of things, with the amount of artists they have there, are great. Not to mention buying an original piece of art from Marcelo Ferrero was there. Getting to talk to Claudia Gray, who writes a lot of Star Wars books. She wrote Master and Apprentice, so she does a lot of work on the High Republic stuff as well. It was really awesome. Probably geeked out with her for about 10 minutes talking about Star Wars Andor. And it was awesome. It was so much fun. So it's really hard to say that con wasn't great. It's just a lot, because Friday was a completely different experience from Thursday. There were so many people there. It was at times difficult to get anywhere. One thing that was kind of cool was they did do like a promotion for the Chucky TV show, and I was only able to catch a small clip of it.
We watch Chucky.
But it was really cool to kind of see that kind of big level promotion going on for something. So that was New York Comic Con. If you're willing to go deal with a massive crowd, and we were only there Thursday, Friday, and by Friday it had gotten extremely packed. So I imagine Saturday was bonkers. Probably would have been wicked overwhelming. But if you're okay with that, it's absolutely worth it to go there for the level of like celebrity and creators you'll actually get to meet at the con. It's fantastic. I know that last year they had like Tom Hiddleston on Saturday, who we didn't have the chance to meet. And then there was, I believe, Katie Sackhoff was there. The former Sasha Banks was there. They had a whole bunch of guests that came in for Thursday, Friday that weren't there Saturday, Sunday, and so on. But it was really, really cool. So that's the biggest Comic-Con I'd ever been to. Prior to that, it was probably Rhode Island Comic-Con, which gets some of the bigger name celebrities around here. If you're in the New England area, Rhode Island has their tagline is the biggest show in the smallest state, and they live up to that. Previously, I'd had the chance to meet Dave Bautista there. We've met so many people. Carl Weathers, we met there. It's just there's so many people that you actually have an opportunity to meet. Sebastian Stan was there one year. So it comes down to like they are probably your best bet if you want to go get some bigger name celebrities, or a lot of them at once. Get the VIP pass. You'll zip through the lines, and you'll be able to meet a ton of them. And like I listed 3 of them. That doesn't even include a whole slew of other ones like Shamik Moore, Amy Jo Johnson, John Rice Davies. Like the list goes on because Rhode Island is probably the Comic-Con I've been to the most and met the most people at. Because they always just have such a great guest list. But I did call it a Comic-Con. So what do they have comic book wise? Well, that's where things get a little tricky with Rhode Island Comic-Con. There are comic booths. There are a decent amount of them. The number of booths compared to the size of the show probably doesn't balance out in my mind. There's a lot of art people, like art dealers that are selling their own creations and stuff like that. They do have some comic book creators, not as many as like New York, obviously. But you do have that option as well. So it is a pretty good Comic-Con. Again, this goes without saying. It's similar to New York where you're going to run into a massive crowd there. So you have to be okay with crowds at basically any Comic-Con. There won't be one that you go to that there won't tend to be a crowd in some form or fashion. It might be a smaller crowd because it's in a smaller room, but you will have a crowd of people around you at almost all times at a con. And you just kind of have to prepare yourself for that. The next level of con I've gone to, and I'm kind of pairing them up by celebrities, is probably FanExpo Boston. When I first went to it, it was Boston Comic Con, and back then at Boston Comic Con there was only like 5 celebrities. I had the chance to meet Manu Bennett that year, who played, who was Deathstroke in Arrow. Fantastic guy. He was also in Spartacus. I believe he was Crixus in that. Super nice guy. One of the first celebrities I actually had the chance to meet, and it was really a really great impression. I was super excited. I asked him a whole bunch of questions about Spartacus, and then was like, "Yeah, but can you sign this Arrow picture for me?" I was really interested to learn about Spartacus that day. I don't know. It was interesting, but that would be the same con that I had the chance to meet Todd Knock at and walk around and pick up some other fun things. And the comic book selection, that was fantastic. I remember I picked up a 4th printing of Into the Spider-Verse #2, the first appearance of Spider-Gwen, for my wife at that one because she was really interested in it. We have it graded now at a 9.6, and we paid like $4 for it back then. Absolutely an amazing thing. But that was it then. It had since been sold to FanExpo and has become FanExpo Boston. And for that one, they do get quite a few celebrities, some really, really good ones. I know in 2023 they had Zach Levy. Tara Strong was there, who voices Miss Minutes, Raven, and Teen Titans. Just so many people. They had Gabriel Luna, who plays Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And there's a lot of people. You can basically meet somebody for basically any fandom there. A lot of anime voice actors. So it's really cool. It's a very, very good celebrity one. Not as crazy as Rhode Island on either the celebrity front or the crowd front, but there is still quite a few people there. So that level, if you're looking for like a FanExpo level, I don't know how it is in other cities, but the FanExpo Boston definitely has that kind of going for it, where it's slightly smaller. There's some cool things. There are some comic booths. There's just not a lot of them anymore, and there's really not a lot of like new release comic book booths. It's a lot of the older, the bigger books that you would have to spend your money on for quite a bit of the con. That said, I have had some good experiences buying books at the show, so that is something to take into consideration. The next level was a little kind of I'm going to call it a side quest for Rhode Island Comic Con and Altered Reality, where they tried to branch out and do something called Contropolis. They had one in Pennsylvania, they had one in Mass, and it was in like Marlborough. It was a very, very different experience from Rhode Island. It was in a smaller venue. My brain blanked there. Less vendors, but they still had some pretty good celebrities. So like, went to that one, had the chance to meet Joey Fatone, who was absolutely hilarious. Great guy. He signed in a Practical Jokers picture, and he made sure to sign it with "My name is Joey Fatone, and I just shit my pants," which is a quote from the actual show. So that was really funny. And then he told us like an inside story about a punishment he had coming up, and that resulted in a tattoo on his leg, which I believe it came out in November, but we had the chance to meet him back in June, and he gave us like the heads up in the story about the whole thing. So he now has a tattoo on him from Impractical Jokers. Wicked nice guy to meet. Met David Sobolov, who voiced Rhinox and I believe it's Battletrap in Transformers Rise of the Beasts. And he was also Shockwave in the original Beast Wars cartoon, which was really, really cool. I loved that show. So I met him because he was in Rise of the Beasts, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. When I went to see the movie, I got a special edition poster. I had him sign it. We talked about it. Turned out he actually recorded dialogue for Rhinox, and then all of the lines were removed from the movie, and he was a little upset at that, but he was wicked. He was super nice about it. He actually gave me a picture of Rhinox, and he was like, I'm not going to sign it because I didn't use any of my audio. It was funny. He like it might sound meaner than it was. It was him like joking about it. It was really great. And then the last person we met there was T.C. Carson, who you can see on my wall back there. Oh, there we go. As Mace Windu in the Clone Wars. He was super nice. Also a funny interaction with him. I won't go into too many details because that's more between all of us. But it was pretty funny. He was absolutely fantastic to meet. And that was the celebrities there. There wasn't anything too crazy. There was the actor who played Justin in Power Rangers Turbo. Jason David Frank's daughter was there promoting Legend of the White Dragon. Manu Bennett was actually at that one as well. So it wasn't like a crazy big one. It was cool that they tried to expand out. I really hope they give it a second shot. I wonder if it just didn't have traction because it was brand new. So I'm kind of hoping they give it a little bit of a go. It was actually one of those cons you could go to and breathe. There wasn't a lot of people. There were some good comic books there. I picked up the first cover appearance of Cad Bane. I think I paid like $20 for it. And this was back in June when books were still a little on the high side. But it was really cool. I was really stoked. Got to see some cool things like a Journey into Mystery 83, like actually in person, like right up close to it. It was cool. They had some good comic book vendors. They had toys. They had everything there. So that was that experience with that one, and kind of on par with that, but way more crowded and slightly bigger, like atmosphere wise, but celebrity wise, kind of on par, where they get quite a few. I don't want to say mid tier because they're still great people and great celebrities, but like they're not like that box office like you're gonna wait in line all day level celebrities. But Terrificon at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut was fantastic. I finally had the chance to go to that this past year. and there were a, a good number of celebrities there. Nobody really broke the bank, celebrity wise, like meeting them, getting their autograph or taking a picture with them. Nobody really broke the bank. It was really cool. Some of the people had the chance to meet there was like Tate Fletcher, um, Ross Marquand, um, Sean Gunn, Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Well, just no, it's just Rebecca Romaine now, not Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Apologies for that one. Just habit. I looked up at an X-Men poster I have signed by her, and that's what it was on there. But yeah, no, it was just really, really cool. And on top of that, the Infinity Gauntlet saga was written by Jim Starlin. He happened to be at the show, so I was able to meet him and get him to sign Infinity Gauntlet number 4. Trying to collect them all, each individual issue. I have 1, 2, and 6 signed. Not signed, graded. But slowly piecing them together. And then there were some other celebrities there. I was able to actually pick up some good books from there too. So I picked up CGC graded Wolverine number 1, the first appearance of Patch. It's not the limited series, it's his first ongoing solo series where he's Wolverine on top of a pile of bodies on the cover. And then I got to pick up the first appearance of Mr. Sinister, which is Uncanny X-Men 221. I picked that up. Both the Wolverine was a 7.0 and the Sinister was a 7.5. They were $50 each, because there was a deal. There were 2 for $100. So I really couldn't pass that up. I just really wanted those books and to be able to put them on the wall, and I honestly probably would have overpaid for them outside of slabbing them. So the fact they came slabbed and were only $50, I wasn't upset at that at all. Thanks again, Very Gary Comics, who I also ran into again at New York Comic Con. But they were absolutely great. So Terrificon definitely ranks as probably my favorite based on the level of comic creators, and the ease at which you get to meet the celebrities that are there too. It's so much fun. You can stay at Mohegan Sun if you want. You don't have to. The rooms can get a little expensive there, but there is free parking if you want to drive in. So there's that. If you're a fan of Krispy Kreme, there's one of those right in Mohegan Sun, so that might also sell you. But no, the con itself was really a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed doing it and going. And getting to meet Tate Fletcher and running into him again at New York and telling him like the story of how, all right, whenever you're at a con that we get to go to, we're going to take a picture of the last picture we had together and take another one with you. So that's something we're going to try to keep going there. Absolutely fantastic guy. So yeah, that I would say like Contropolis and Terrificon, where you have that balance of celebrity and comics, whether it's comic vendors or comic creators, like just having that there is what makes a good Comic-Con. And sometimes if you're going to like FanExpo or even New York Comic Con at times, it can feel like it's just this giant celebrity convention, and that kind of stinks sometimes. Like it's just not as much fun to go to that and deal with all the stress, the hassle, and the massive crowds that are there. But it can be fun too. So whatever level you're comfortable with is what I recommend. Because the last level I'm going to mention was a con I won tickets to through Nick's Comic Strip in Danvers, Mass. It was in April, and it was Wicked Comic Con Boston, sorry. And this one was comic book only. There were no like entertainment celebrities. There were comic book writers, comic book vendors, and that was it. And that was really cool to go to as a comic book fan, because I had the chance to meet some of the comic book writers I probably wouldn't have had a chance to meet otherwise. Whether that's Sean Murphy, who I've met again since then and has written the White Knight storyline. Jeff Loeb, who was a Marvel TV executive but also helped create Sam Alexander Nova, or Ed McGuinness, who also helped on that. Yeah. So it was really, really cool. And again, at that one, I picked up the first appearance of the Grand Inquisitor in comic books. And then I picked up some very reasonably priced CGC graded books from Bobby's RetroWorld. And again, I'll try to link all of these places I've mentioned in this video in the description below, so make sure to check that out. Support those people, whether it's Very Gary Comics, Nick's Comic Strip, Bobby's Retro World, New York Comic Con, Wicked Comic Con, FanExpo Boston, any of those places. Just make sure to check them out. Support them if you want to go, or check out a con in your area that's similar. But back to Wicked quick. It was fantastic. There was a lot of great people there. I met up with some friends there too. And it being a comic-centric Comic-Con, I hadn't been to something like that ever. So it was a whole different experience, but I enjoyed having it strictly comics. It was easy to go in, to navigate, to figure out what to do. I don't know. It wasn't overwhelming. So those are the different tiers of Comic-Con that I've experienced, that I've gone to, and that's my thoughts on all of them. And I keep harping on this because it's the most important thing I can tell you, is to do what makes you comfortable. Go to the Comic-Con that makes you the most comfortable. If you're okay with crowds, you want to meet some of the bigger, like blockbuster level celebrities, New York, FanExpo Boston, Rhode Island Comic-Con, absolutely go to those. If you want to experience a Comic-Con but you don't want to be overwhelmed, go to some of the smaller shows, like I mentioned, Contropolis, Massachusetts, or Terrificon. And Terrificon's not really that small. It has a good vibe of a small show. So if you find something like that, absolutely go to it. Find like a local Comic-Con to go to, like Wicked Comic-Con Boston. There's also like Little Giants up in New Hampshire in April. Those type of ones that are all very comic-centric, probably going to be a blast for you if you're very interested in the comics and wanting to see what people are offering. Maybe barter, make some deals. But remember, it's what makes you the most comfortable is the con you should go to. So based on what I told you, use that knowledge to determine your comfort level and go to that con. But until then, and until I go to another Comic-Con, I'll catch you next time.